Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to our apostles and elders of Great Millstones, to all you Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity, to the men, women, and children listening and learning to the Baal Shadabadad, the house of David. All right, this is Men of Valor, Las Vegas camp. To the will of power, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai. I have a blessed camp, and go ahead and move forward. Let's start off and let's go to Exodus. Start off number 19. Yeah, start off with 19.
The book of this is the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 3. And Moses went up into the power, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself.
God. So you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Seminole Indians, Haitians, Puerto Ricans, Guatemalans, Argentinians, Colombians, Cubans, all right, all the way down to Mexicans, you are the children of Israel, all right? Your biblical nationalities would be Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar, all right? Those are your biblical nationalities, all right? You're a special people unto Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, all right? You're in service of the Most High. You are His people, all right? Being that you are His people, the law, statutes, and commandments, which you may know as the 10 Commandments, all right? And there's 613 commandments, all right? But the 10 Commandments that most of you Jakes know about, all right? The 10 Commandments are for you, all right? For you to adhere to obey, all right? Because you're a special, peculiar people unto Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
So Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai said, you should be a peculiar treasure unto me, the Most High, all right? The Most High and His Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, all right? Which is Yahweh Shai, all right? Who the world calls Jehovah, His name is Yahweh, all right? You're a special, peculiar treasure unto Him, all right? Unto them, He gave His only begotten Son for you.
Right? For all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation.
He said you should be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Not only that, He already told you that you are above everybody over the earth, all right? All other nations, whether they're Chinese, whether they're so-called Caucasian or white, all right? Whether they're Arabic, block flew in my eye. Arabic, it doesn't matter. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai set you apart to be His people, His nation, and to be in servitude unto Him, and be in service unto the Most High. All right, gives you the dominion over the entire earth under Yahweh Shai. All right, and King David, so on and so forth. All right, because there's a hierarchy to everything. We are a people that are to be in order. All right, go ahead, continue.
These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel.
The children of Israel. All right. As a matter of fact, let's go. Exodus. That's one. Okay. Yeah. Genesis.
In Exodus chapter 1 and verse 1, says, Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt, every man in his household came with Jacob, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 7 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already.
God. So Yahweh Shemi Shai went ahead and named, all right? He gave you the names of his people, of the tribes of his people, all right? Which biblically lines up, all right, to your so-called nationalities, all right? Slucky, and the surname, Slucky, Israel, Slucky. The surname Israel was for Jacob, all right? We're going to read that account.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 30. Book of Genesis, chapter 32, verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint. And he wrestled with him. And he said, Let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, What is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with the Most High, and with men has prevailed.
God. So Yahweh Shemi Shai surnamed Jacob Israel. All right? So when he was surnamed Israel, he's going to be, he now is being called by Israel. So when you see Israel and Jacob in the Bible, know that Jacob is Israel. All right? Not in every single case, but when it's referring to a nation.
Deuteronomy 28 and 36.
You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, all right? These are your bywords. All right? These are what you're called by. And brother's gonna explain exactly why.
Deuteronomy 28, 36. The Lord shall bring thee thy king, which thou set over thee, into a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other powers, wood and stone.
God, so we serve other powers, wood and stone. That's why you have so many so-called black Muslims. All right, this so-called what happened? The whole conscious community. All right, that's nothing but wood and stone. All right, if it's Egyptology, look at Polite's ass. All right, he politely got his ass corrected by Yahweh Shemi Shai. All right? Because he wanted to serve wood and stone and be a scoffer. See?
They go back to women worship. They worship that ump.
God.
They go back to they rock that ump.
God, thinking that the woman is over the man. All right, and that's contrary to doctrine. All right, Yahweh Shemi Shai once again has an order to everything. All right, and that wooden stone Salakia, that's the cross too.
Right.
All right, the Muslims traveling around Mecca. All right, the Christians praying to so-called Jesus on the cross. All right, and if you on top of it, you're praying to a wooden stone, a wood or stone, and then on top of it, you choose to praise the image of Yahweh Shai's worst hour. All right, the worst time, and you're going to glorify that time.
That was the life used to take down the son of the Most High.
God.
God's giving worship to it. It might as well be rocking a guillotine, like God. This is verse 37. It says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
Hey, an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword. All right, so you don't know your nationality. You so-called black people, even you so-called white people, all these are bywords. All right, you have a biblical nationality that tells exactly who you are. All right, the Bible gives everybody their lineage. Everybody on the planet has their lineage in this book. All right, you know what you go back to.
This book of Joshua,
chapter 24, verse 14, it says, "Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the powers which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord." It says, "And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the powers which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the powers of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord."
God. So Yahweh Shemi Shai said, choose ye this day who you going to serve. You're going to serve the Mother Mary, all right? You're going to serve the Mother Mary, the one who bore Yahweh Shai, all right? She's not even the creator. On top of that, you know, everybody has a place once again, all right? Women have their place, men have their place.
Those two scriptures go into, that it may seem foreign, it relates to nowadays, because what we're teaching here to those, dry bones, it may seem foreign to,
God.
To those 2/3, it may seem foreign to that, you're supposed to praise him by his correct name, Yahweh Shimon Shah, because they're unfamiliar with you,
God.
And
it seems foreign to you to not be in that woman worship. All right? Because most of you Jakes have been raised by single women. All right?
Y'all still praying to the powers on the other side of the flood. That's why you're going to be on the other side of the fire.
God. Be in that thermonuclear fire. All right? You continue to do wickedly. All right? You continue to go after your own lust. Right? The law, statutes, and commandments are for Israel. Salvation is for Israel. All right? What you so-called Christians call the rapture, all right, which is false. All right? What you call the rapture is false. It's salvation. Salvation for who? The Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, all the way, Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, all the way down to Mexicans. All right? Salvation has nothing to do with anybody else. All right? All you other nations are going into slavery. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. If your lineage doesn't go back to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans.
Book of Romans chapter 9, verse 4. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of the Most High and the promises.
So the adoption, all right, the adoption, being married unto Yahweh Shemi Shai, all right, him choosing us, all right, because we couldn't choose him, he had to choose us. And the water Yahweh Shemi Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, for choosing us, all right, he chose us to be his special people unto himself. Read that again and go slower.
Romans 9 and 4. Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption?
Who are Israelites, to whom pertaineth the adoption? Who are Israelites? It doesn't say anything about any other nation. All right? It doesn't say anything about Canaan. All right? It doesn't say anything about Ham. All right? It says the Israelites. All right? So follow the lineage. Go ahead.
And the glory and the covenants.
And the glory. All right? It is glorious to be a part of the house of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, to understand the law, statutes, and commandments and perform them. All right? To the best of our ability on this side. All right? to be of his nation. That's a gloriful thing. Right?
And the giving of the law and the service of the Most High.
And the giving of the law. All right? Because essentially we are judges. All right? To perform Yahweh Hashem Yahushai's laws, statutes, and commandments. To get other heathen nations into order. But at first we have to come back to order ourselves. All right? So it is a nation building thing we are doing right now from being destroyed from all these other nations.
And the promises.
And the promises. What is promise? What is this whole book's promise of? It's promise for salvation. It's promise for rulership. To be kings and priests over all these other nations. All right? It's a promise. It's a promise that will come to pass.
Verse 5. These are the fathers, and of whom has concerned the flesh the Mashiach came, who is over all, Most High blessed forever. Amen.
Whose are the fathers? All right? Now, who belongs to the Most High that he sent his only begotten son to die for? All right? He sent Yahushua, who you ignorantly call Jesus Christ, to die for the nation of Israel. No other fucking nation. No other nation. Get Psalms 83. Right? Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to make a separation. He is going to let you know that his nation, all right, his people, he has a special, peculiar people. He has a favorite.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Hey, 2/3 of our own people hate Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right, 2/3 of our own nation don't understand and hate the very one who created them to be a part of the nation. All right, go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans took crafty counsel. Hidden ones. You don't even know who the fuck you are. All right? You want to be everybody else but who you're made to be. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 10, it says, we grope for the wall like the blind, and we grope as if we had no eyes. We stumble at noonday as in the night. We are in desolate places as dead men. God, we're in desolate places as dead men. All right? We're over here thinking, leaning upon our own understanding and thinking that, shit, we can do something in this society. That you are fucking somebody. All right? That you have the ability to do what other nations do. All right? You're the last hired and first fired. Last hired and first fired amongst a multitude of things. You have heart disease, cholesterol. All right? You're impoverished. You don't have nothing in this world, but you think yourself to be in a good case. Why? Because you make $50,000 a year. You make $100,000 a year. You sold your soul. All right? You decided to give up everything. All right? To forget yourself as a man and become a sodomizer. All right? Yes,
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
God. All these other nations are confederate, and they came together and said, let us cut them off from being a nation. All right? Ultimately, it was Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for our disobedience. All right? But he said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. All right? So that we are not remembered. All right? So they wouldn't have to adhere to the law, statutes, and commandments. So they wouldn't have to get right. All right? Because when the righteous are in rule, guess what? Everybody's in everybody's in order. All right? There can't be a righteous rulership and then people still living the Aleister Crowley, do as thy will. All right? Keep going.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee with one consent. Let me pull up on. He's gonna get the biblical outfit out what you got. Hey man, what's your so-called nationality? Mexican. What's your father? The Salvadorian. All right, so that puts you down. Got it.
That's essential. So
Right.
right here. Zebulon. Panamanians, the Guatemalans. In that area.
Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which is the world frequently called God and Jesus Christ. All right, you're a special, peculiar people unto Him. All right, so come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, because not everybody's going to see salvation. If you don't mind me asking, what's your so-called religion? If you identify with a religion. Right. All right. Let me ask you this: what is it about Christianity that the unanswered questions for you? Is the easiest way to say. I'm sorry. Against Christianity. Good and bad. Well, matter of fact, go ahead and pull that. I got a script for you. He does good and evil Proverbs. Because there is a good and bad, right? There's a duality in everything. So the Most High, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ, which is Yahweh, all right, is what they call God or Jehovah. His son, Yahweh Shai, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ, all right? I believe it's Proverbs 4.
I think for most people, they call it Christ, but his real distinction is that looks more like a black man right there. His name is Jehovah. That's the true depiction. You go into those scriptures right there, Daniel 10 and 6, and Revelation chapter 1, it'll tell you that his feet were bronze burning in the furnace.
Go ahead and pull that for us. Right? Because the world, Salakia, the world thinks that, you say the word Jesus, what do you think? Long hair, blue eyes, white supremacy. Essentially, that's what it is. How is it that he came from the Middle East, all right, and he's got blonde hair and blue eyes?
Thank you.
Right. You're right. He's actually a Borgia.
God, Caesar Borgia.
So he was a prince of
son of Catholic. What is it? Oh, is it?
that's what they call it. Iconoclast, pretty much to where anybody that was in a high stature, they revamped their looks, to put that oppression on us. Because what most people think that we don't come from royalty. I'm gonna grab this just for his looks and what he truly looked like. This is Revelation chapter 1 and verse 14. It says his head and his hairs were white like wool and white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
So like wool, hair like wool, hair like the wool would be mine, like his brother, so then like their brothers, right?
Even although this we got a little bit thicker hair than white man. So says in his feet like unto fine brass, as if they were burned in a furnace,
So it burns in the furnace. So if you have brass, what color is brass? It's like a copper brown, it's like a darker color, right? It could be your
same
could be considered more brass, right? Then put it in the fire. What color is it gonna be? It's gonna be dark, 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 dark brown, almost even black, right? Because what's black? Your shirt and your hat is black, right? So you put it dark, 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 it's just gonna get darker shades. When you pull up the earth, right? If you ever did any what is it, landscaping or anything like that, when you dig down and you got soil, that soil is brown, but the deeper you go, the darker it gets, right? Same thing essentially. Go ahead, continue. Oh, that you had watching. All right, so that would be the true image of who the world actually calls Jesus Christ. All right, he's a melanated man. He comes from the tribe of Judah. All right, so he'd be a so-called melanated black man. All right, but you said you've done some things that were not Christian like, so-called, right? But no,
still to this day, like lying and all that stuff.
I'm sorry.
Like still to this day, anything that's like that says in the Bible is sin is sin.
Right, we're all in sin.
But we also know, like what's terrible sin and what's really,
Right.
yeah.
God.
On this side, it's hard to be perfect. It ain't easy because of because we're born into sin.
Yeah, but you also know that you're born to learn. Like we're born to know, like certain things, what to do and what not to do.
That goes back to the same. Those were the laws that Yahweh gave Moses to get Torah. That's what separates us from anybody else that's not his church. That's where the morals come. Yeah, because judgment, everything you have to pay for judgment after death, or when that time comes. But it's whether you're gonna get right before the ultimate judgment, before death, or you're gonna get right before then, get right with both sides. Because we're coming in a time where salvation is not. The coming of the Lord, Yahweh, He's gonna come back and redeem His people. Because we're still in captivity right now. It's more mental captivity. But if you look around the world, who's running things? So-called white man, right? The Bible depicts him as the devil. He's the offspring of Esau, and he was depicted as a brave man with a hairy garment. Then he had a perpetual hatred for Jacob, which we went into earlier, the surname Israel.
We'll get into that for you a little bit too.
That's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 39. See now that even I am He, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound.
So the Most High kills and make alive. All right. So what is, in retrospect, what is death to the Most High? Nothing. Right. So He killeth, He make alive. Go ahead, continue.
I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
Right. So there's nothing that can deliver out of His hand. All right. So just because you're in the flesh, we're gonna make mistakes. It is all to go off. We were designed because we're not perfect. We just have to practice the righteous acts to the best of our ability.
Yeah, but like we also know, like not to do certain things.
Right.
And sometimes just in your spirit not to do it, because it goes back to your heritage. And that goes back to this. I'm gonna grab this. This is Baruch chapter 4 and verse 27. It says, "Be of good comfort, O my children, and cry unto the Most High, for you shall be remembered of Him that brought these things upon you." Talking about the curses from us going off, because we started serving other fake false idols and stuff, and that's the first commandment. That's going off of the first and second commandment.
Right.
I'll get
there.
Yeah. keep on going with it. It says, "For as it was your mind to go astray from the Most High, so being returned, seek Him 10 times more." That's why we gotta can never do enough for the Most High, And coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments, celebrating His, or holding the Sabbath day correctly, that brings you in good favor. It brings you back on good terms with the Most High, because you're making that intent, And the Most High has mercy and is a forgiving power. It says, "For He hath brought these plagues upon you, shall bring you everlasting joy again with your salvation." It says, "Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for He that gave thee that name will comfort thee." So Jerusalem's talking about the land that used to be, or where we used to surround, because we came from Israel, the land of Israel right now. That you got the Palestinian people and the so-called Israelis out there fighting over. That's really rightfully ours. That was given to us by the Most High.
I'm gonna get for the commandment for us. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 20. I'm gonna start at verse 2. I'll just start at 1, and it reads, and the power speak, and God spake. I'm gonna read verbatim. And God spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. All right, because we were in captivity, in Egypt. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. All right, so that right there, worshiping Caesar Borgia, which is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, worshiping the Mother Mary, all right, worshiping Buddha, Krishna, Mecca, anything else out of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is going off. All right, whether you can even worship yourself, vanity. Get in the mirror and say, I did it all by myself. I'm me, it's me. I do this. You know what I mean? It's self-worship, Those are all things that are abominable unto the Most High.
A lot of people, when they meditate, what do they talk about? They talk about that higher self.
Right. Self-projection. It's me. This is my universe. I'm one with the universe that Buddhism said. I control my own destiny.
Just sin and stuff like that. This is Proverbs 16:6 says, "By mercy and truth, iniquity is purged." It says, "And by fear of the Lord, men depart from evil." So, it says in the scriptures, wisdom is the first step, or fear is the first step to wisdom. And to have wisdom is fear of the Lord. And this is telling you that it says, "By mercy and truth, iniquity is purged." So, by mercy and truth, knowing this truth, knowing where you really come from, knowing and coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments, and repenting, wholeheartedly, that's gonna get rid of that sin. That's gonna keep it from going backwards. Because what's repentance? Repentance is moving forward, never going back. I grew up Catholic, so how this contradicts that I used to be able to go into the church, say 5 Hail Marys and be good, when really that's not
basically I can do it again. Right.
Continual sin, it adds up on
this is book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in a city, and the Lord hath not done it?
So the Most High, all right, the Most High himself controls the left and the right hand, right? So people who are doing evil things and wicked, that's the left-hand side. The Most High controls them, and essentially he controls them for us because we want whipping stick. If we're his children, if you have a child, you have any kids? All right. If your child gets out of line, what you gonna do?
Right?
Fair enough.
I never thought it was
Oh, you got a daughter? All right, so maybe a little bit different, you know. Guys tend to take a little easier on their daughters and everything. But nevertheless, how old is she?
She's 7.
7. Okay, let's say when she's 17, all right, or 14, right? You hear something that is just foul. What are you gonna do about it? As a dad, you're gonna be kind of moved, be like, hey, I've been hearing some things, right? So you're gonna discipline her. So that discipline comes in the same from the Most High for us. He disciplines his sons, which would be us, and he disciplines his daughter, which would be our women, women of our nations. So, nevertheless, there's always going to be a disciplinary action.
By the seller, that's something that you said.
Right.
But then,
That's why I just had a
Right.
and she don't do it. But then, in the long run, you do it to protect her, because it comes out of love. The way
Right. Right. It's protection for both. You're protecting her and you're protecting you. You're protecting you from looking like a fool, right? Because you don't want to be that dad that just let your daughter and she's out here with Tom, Dick, Harry, Jerry, Jeffrey, Tim, and Frank, and but she has your name. And then, oh man, so and so's daughter, man, you can get it anytime. Then don't want to hear that. Right.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8 and 5. It says, "Thou shalt also consider in thine heart," now talking about your mind, says, "that as a man chasteneth his son, so the Lord thy power chasteneth thee."
Oh, so Yahweh Shemi Shai, who the world inwardly calls God, Jesus Christ, he's chastising us right now. All right. He put the base men over us. This so-called white man, all right, which is Esau Edom, is over us. And we are to be over him. He's the base and the lowest of all men that Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai made. He is the base man. But because we disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments, he showed us his power and said, I will bring the lowest man and put him above you, and you will be in servitude unto him. Matter of fact, go ahead and get that in the book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28, and I believe it's 30 or 42. Huh? Go ahead. Yeah, white guy. There's all these other nations too, but the so-called white man, where does he run? Let me ask you that. What do white people run? And what do they own? They got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Okay. And those Jewish fall under that same line. So if you get told, you ever heard that? They're just like we have different tribes in our nation. They have the same thing. They have different tribes in their nation. There's a hierarchy to everything. Right? 28, I believe, 22.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power, with joyfulness, with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Verse 48, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, what the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee.
So let me ask you this question. Have the so-called Negroes ever been in slavery? Have the so-called Mexicans ever been in slavery? Aren't?
No, but I mean, yeah, in a way.
Yeah, in a way, right? So,
Like
Yeah, well, they were enslaved in chains too. You know, when they first got over here, that Atlantic slave trade worked both ways. It was for the indigenous people, the so-called Native Americans who were already here. They moved them abroad, right? They took them out of their land because if everybody stayed here, it's too many of them, right? It's too many of them. So we're gonna ship them back to our land and make them the minority. You know, so made them minority. That's why you have certain so-called nationalities in other regions.
As well as so-called Negro, their nationality. Some of them they go back to Gad actually, which is a Native American. But a lot of Native Americans and other Latino tribes, they dwelt in the Americas for that transatlantic slave trade.
Right. So, yeah, read it again.
28, Deuteronomy 20, verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy power, joyfulness, and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, but the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things.
So our enemies, all right, because Israel has enemies. As a matter of fact, show you the chief. Go to Genesis and get Esau. Get just go to 41. Yes, just go to 41. Talk.
I'm gonna go over this real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 3. It says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go."
See, we were oppressed together. All of these people on the charts, this is all our nation. All right? This is all our nation. We were all oppressed together. All those people were in chains. All those people had to suffer rape, robbery, and murder.
Right. And if you think about it, that's partly some of the reasons why, 10 years ago, Black and Mexican weren't cool. There's a lot of bad blood between us. That was because of that was part of their plan. Is to keep us separated and keep us away from this truth, knowing who we really were, so they could keep the power over us.
God, because what we do to
what we can do together.
Right.
Yeah.
And you see now, like they're the minority now. They have less people, in total.
That's why the same thing that found us in the 80s, let's say crack, right? Crack, the pandemic or whatever. Crack, well, epidemic, all right? That whole thing took out generations, all right? Not only through violence, but through the substance itself, all right? Now that opium epidemic on so-called white people, their birth rates are down. Their generations of men are just trashed, and the women, we're not even going to get into them, trashed as well. You see more of them. But because we're destroyed as a nation, all right? We're destroyed as a nation, our people follow after their ways. Genesis 25 and 20. Where Jacob hated his brother.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 27. Start at verse 39. It says, "And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of the heaven from above."
All right, so you have the fatness of the earth. To have the fatness of the earth is to have the best, right? So who has the best land? Who has $36 million homes? on the coast, you know, and that's just their vacation. Who owns all that stuff? You know, that's typically the white man. You know, you might have some speckled people in there, you know, of so-called color in there, but that's only because they sold out to that white man. God, God.
All right, continuing on, it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother.
So by that sword shalt thou live. All right. What's the modern day sword today? If there's a weapon that is modern day to the sword, what would you take that as? This accessible like a sword would be back in the day. Be a what? To be a gun, right? A strap, a pistol, you know, AK-47.
Or like to protect yourself.
To protect yourself. So it's a weapon. The modern day sword would be a gun, right? In the technology. They saw it. They teach so-called white. They hey, for your kid's fourth birthday, they went out to the gun range. And his seventh birthday, he got a rifle. Right.
Exactly. It says, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Let's talk about how Jacob, Israel, was in power at first, but then he gave transferred power over to Esau.
Because we went up.
So this all Mexicans are their true nationality is the tribe of Issachar. So the northern kingdom consists of mainly Latino tribes, and the Native Americans, and you got the southern kingdom for the Negroes, Haitians, and West Indians. But we're all one. We all go back to one. Judah's on top because they're the head tribe. That's where Yahweh Shai, we call Jesus. That's where he was from. So it's only right for them. And King David, and all the kings that were in power, they all came out of that Judah. That's just the way it's
Everything will be in order, everything higher. So let's see. Right.
So and even if we at the bottom of this thing, it's better than to be on this chart than not, because we're a chosen people of the Most High.
And so it's we have, being that there's a hierarchy, all right, they're still within that hierarchy, ranking in that hierarchy.
Right.
So there's certain ranking 144,000 elect men, all right, of the nation of Israel will see salvation.
There's going to be 12,000 because salvation isn't for everybody. Everybody will make it into the kingdom that goes back to his tribe.
If your father's line goes back to this side of the tribe.
But the way it's going to happen is that we have nuclear warfare going to come and strike down America pretty soon. In World War III. As you can see, all the shit that's coming on with Afghanistan lately. That's hyping things up. China's building up, Iran's building up their nuclear power, and what's going to happen is everybody's going to send missiles to America. We're going to prove it to you in scripture too. But right before they hit, Yahweh Shai is going to come back on the chariots of Israel and get being done. If you're part of the elect seed, that's by being diligent in the work and and repent, and coming back to the laws, statutes, and commandments. That's how you get in good favor side of the Lord. But this isn't. We out here doing this as hopeful. It's not guaranteed. That's why it says to seek Him 10 times. 10 times more. As that scripture read earlier.
So, but then again, how do I put it this? So since he's, since it's God, the most High, He has the power of knowing everything, right? Okay. So then, okay, that's fine.
He knows the deepest, darkest secret they find. and he knows the best thing that you did, But coming back into repentance, that's what Yahushua came back for, to plead with his father.
We're the only ones who are able to truly repent. It's the people of this nation whose father's line goes back to this nation. It doesn't matter if you murdered somebody, all right? If you murdered somebody, if you committed an adultery, it doesn't matter. If you child molestation, not saying those things are okay or anything like that. You just waking up to the truth, all right? And you put on a new man, Yahweh Shai clears all your sins once you hear this word and adhere to it. Because what you're doing right now is listening, and listening is doing one of two things. It's either marking for righteousness, and you come back to the law, statutes, and commandments that Yahweh Shai has for his nation, or you're marked for destruction. So if you're marked for destruction, you'll see death by your second death, either by thermonuclear fire, hit by a car, or whatever, because all judgments belong to Yahweh Shai. And we'll actually get it, and they're looking for something right now for the brothers to actually get it. But the repentance is only for this nation. It's not for anybody else. That Christianity, the rapture, God's going to come back with flowers and rainbows. No, he's not coming back for flowers and rainbows. He cares about a particular special people. Nobody else does he care about. Everybody else is going to be either done away with or in slavery. All other nations will go in slavery unto the Israelites under Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai for 1,000 years.
But that is because everybody else had a hand in our captivity. We were sold by the every nation figure trying that we all had a captivity in that land.
Right. They all used us and mistreated us. But the difference between Esau Edom, the white man, he picked up our heritage book and made it a standard for this so-called place, America. He made it a standard to live by. He accepted it, even though that this book wasn't for him, so he'll be judged by this book. You wanted to be a part of this book? You wanted to say that you're these people? Guess what? The judgments of these people are going to fall upon you.
That's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, verse 14. Let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times.
So Yahweh Shai said, set off your weak nature, your mortal thoughts. All right. So whether you're in Babylon, all right, here, which is aka America, all right, spiritually Sodom and Gomorrah, this abominable place, you got to put off that weak nature. Whether somebody calls you a bitch for being out here and what they call dresses or whatever, you put off that weak nature, because ultimately you know the mysteries and the secrets of the Most High. You're coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments.
Basically, you pay. That's why I'm just like, kind of like, stuff because like somebody calls you, it all depends on you, if you're a bitch or if you're not.
You can call me a bitch all you want. Don't cross this line. Yahweh Shai is a man of war. Don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
I will defend myself if I have to,
Exactly. Yeah.
but don't cross this line. I will try everything to try to avoid it for both me and you.
That's different when we talk about an eye for eye. There's two contrary scriptures. One for eye for eye, the other one is turn the other cheek. So in what situation did you split? So if it's your brother, a part of this nation, that's you turn the other cheek. Because especially if you're in the truth and they're not, because they don't know better. Because they're being ignorant. They live in a part of this world. They call me a bitch. Okay, I know where you're coming from. It don't hurt me. They gonna get their judgment at that time comes. Says that enemy friend of Yahweh Shai, it might as well put a great millstone on it and make them jump in the water. But the eye for the eye is for any other nation.
God. So as they have done unto us, the reason that is like those who we can't put the goals together and for the but yeah.
Oh, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 11. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake.
So blessed are you when somebody calls you a bitch because you're out here in a dress. Okay, thank you. I'll hey, you hate me more. Hate me again, hate me more. Why? Because the so-called Jesus hated so much. He was more so hated than love, right? So the servant is not greater than the master. How could we be better than the one that came to deliver us? Doesn't make sense. We have to suffer just like him if we want to have his glory, if not his glory, if we want to be a part of that glory, if we want to be acceptable and accept those things that he accepted, why would I require anything less of you that I didn't require of myself? You're going to have to take a measure of that to your allotment, what you're allotted, because we're not Yahweh Shai. We don't have his glory, but we are made in the image of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai.
This is Revelation 13 and 9. Says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith for the saints.
All right, so he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. When they put iron around our neck, when they raped, robbed, and murdered our women and children, when they did those things, that shit is going to be paid back to them, but in a righteous way. We're not going to have to rape their women. It's just this. We're not going to have to do that because it's unrighteous. Robbery, we're not going to rob them. Your property, bitch, you belong to me. Now get your ass to work. You rule with a rod of iron, as they have beat us and whipped us and fed our children to alligators. You know, have see the abominable shit that goes on here. You hear about these so-called white people and all the and I'm not just limited to them because 2/3 of our own nation does the same wickedness. They do the same wickedness, but
they got money and stuff.
But they got money and stuff. They get away with it, and they blame it on us.
The system,
sorry, like let's say, I feel like because I feel like when I went to that show, I was with it. I don't know if in a way like since I'm like I don't listen to nobody. You know? I do I'm not smoking dope now. So I feel like since I didn't measure up to certain rules that they want me to live by, because I'm not, I know what's right, what's wrong. It's trying to bullshit me, you're trying to tell me, I'm gonna. If I think it's bullshit, I'm not gonna go by it.
Right.
So in that aspect, they can turn something good and try to make something like that.
Right.
And then now it goes.
Right.
But I'm over here like I'm not, I'm smoking dope on the but it's crazy because I start thinking about it. I'm like, yo, your mind is really powerful. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know what it is, but I know I didn't do something that bad, so why am I? So that's why I'm over here like, fuck that. Walking around, but then you never know. If somebody that's not as, somebody, oh, this or that, they try to prove themselves to, some type of gang, whatever, they the sword. So you go do something stupid, and now you just ruin something for somebody, like, yeah, the intention is just like, here, I think, like, yeah.
Like you said, most I did. Whatever you were doing over there, Most I brought you over.
Yeah.
He brought you over here for one or two things. Once again, either to mark you for salvation or destruction. You're hearing this word, so it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. Do we expect you to get it right in one night? It could happen through the will and the power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, but we don't expect you to get it right. We don't. But we have to give you the message so you have the opportunity to get it right. because Yahweh Bashem Yahushua cares about you. All right? He cares about you before any other nation. He has an individual relationship with each and every man, each and every person of his nation.
Now, let's look at the book of Luke, chapter. I don't.
I know what you're talking about, but
the scriptures talk about like at your lowest, that's when most high. And testimony, I was saying probably the worst place in my life. I'm living to the truth, I was had my own thing that I was going through and shit. But it led me here. All the paths that I took brought me to that straight narrow. That's what we
Luke chapter 5, verse 32. All the righteous but sinners to repentance.
God not. He didn't come for the man who thinks he knows everything. He didn't come for the man who no, he came from Joe Blow down the street that just got in that gunfight. Because he had to get in some shit because Joe Blow was in some shit. Whatever his lot was, he had to get through it. And it was Yahweh Bashem Yahushua that seen him through it to bring him here.
I mean, he might have just been like inches away from getting his head blown off, and then just pray to the Most High, get me out of this, made it,
God, and I'll change my ways. And Yahweh Bashem Yahushua had that mercy on him.
and you give him that opportunity.
God gave him the opportunity for it.
Say faith without works is dead. So once you got that opportunity, if you somewhat of a plan of action.
God, yeah. Still going on that.
Let me get this real quick. 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and 11. It says, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto Yahweh, and I trust also are made manifest in your conscience.
God, for the terror of the Lord. Terror. What is terror? Fear, right? Destruction. For the terrors of the Lord. That script right there alone. Does that say sunshine and rainbows? And that everything is going to be okay when so-called Jesus comes back?
That's basically when you say Jesus is gonna come and the is all
Right.
We're gonna get this.
Right.
It's all about. It's all up to you and your faith to see if
Hey, like the brother says, faith without works is dead. Get Revelation 7. Each tribe.
It's book of Revelation, chapter 7, verse 4. It says, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all tribes of the children of Israel.
So Yahweh Bashem Yahushua said he was going to seal 12,000 men from each tribe. Ultimately, it's going to be 1/3 of our own nation that is saved. Only 1/3, 2/3 of our own people are going to die by pestilence, by thermonuclear fire,
By this that disease going on right now.
right? So all those things, and a multitude of other things. You have the black plague. You have monkeypox. You have the common cold, the flu. You have getting bit by a snake. You have getting hit by a bus.
all the judgments are going to come back.
God, it's all these judgments.
And if you notice right now, just look into the news, you can see that more of these people, they're getting judged right now. They're getting into those car accidents on the freeway, especially out here. They get into those stabbings on the strip. People getting shot around the city, crashing into their motorcycle.
You got 12,000 free each tribe. So 12,000 elect men from each tribe are going to receive salvation. 1/3 of our people, which will be women and children and some other men, friends of the prophets, all right, men who weren't prophets but adhere to the law, statutes, and commandments and change their ways to the best of their ability. So that will be delivered in that time. I got two more things for you. I know you might have to go or whatever. Okay.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 28. I said unto them, verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me, in the generation when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, he shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone that hath forsaken houses, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive an hundredfold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
Hey, look, my own personal testimony. I've had to do certain things and give everything up. This is my bun right there. You know, I've had to give certain things up in my life for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I put everything before Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I put everything for him before everything. He is before everything. Even my own son. As a father, I'm telling you as a testimony as a father, he already knows. If it comes to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, this is what we're doing. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, you know? And it's just, read it again.
Matthew, book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 29. And everyone that hath forsaken houses, or brother, or sister, father, mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive a hundredfold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
So giving up on all that other stuff is not to say that you don't love him, not to say that you don't love him. It's to say that I love the one that gave it to me so much. I'll give it all up to win him. I'll give it all up for him who gave me my child, gave me my wife, gave me my car, that gave me life, that made me part of a nation, to be able to rule. Read Exodus 19 again. So giving up, whether you have to give up, giving up an addiction, right? You give up addiction, you try to the best of your ability. It's an addiction, all right? But ultimately, it's a demon that's on you. It's a demon that's on you. So you have to cleanse yourself from that demon from getting into these scriptures. You get into these scriptures through the will and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, I guarantee, through the will and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he'll take that demon away from you, and you don't turn back. If you make a vow this day, Salakia, if you make a vow this day, the day that you see it in your mind and you pray to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you make that vow and you're willing, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will open you up. He will open your spirit up to receive it, but you have to keep on moving forward. Have to keep on moving forward. If not, he's going to put 7 more demons on you, greater than the demon that you had, because now you're marked for guaranteed destruction.
That's what's right there. It talks about the regeneration. It's talking about the reincarnation. So in a previous lifetime, using the same spot. You know, he was talking to Lord Williams, a pranker. You know, when in his word, he was talking to somebody like us, you know, and they were telling you the same thing. You know, and either you woke up, either you were a follower or you were somebody that you know, blew it off.
So, but that's just giving my own personal testimony on that, and each brother up here has one.
Right, when you practice that name, Yahweh Shim Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Shai, you know, it brings a completely different. But when you speak it in that Hebrew, it brings a different vibration. Because that was his true name. That's the name that our ancestors were. You know?
Yeah, Exodus 19, we go to 3. And we're going to read that again. And we're going to show you, too, that Israel has enemies and how it came about. You got something?
That says Zechariah.
Then you close Zechariah, then go to...
Look at Exodus chapter 19, verse 3. And Moses went up into the power, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thou shalt say unto the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bear you on eagle's wings.
possessor. I have buried you myself. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You asked me a question. Yes. Okay. So he buried you on eagle's wings. So what the world essentially calls UFOs, all right, those are the chariots of Israel. All right. And he buried us on eagle's wings. So he saw us through the parting of the Red Sea. You remember the story, if you ever remember the story of Exodus, where Moses put in the staff in the water and the waters parted? All right, sort of. All right, that was a great deliverance. All right. So the eagle's wings was a chariot. A chariot was over us, a pillar by day and a flame of fire by night, so we could make our way through the sea. So he bore us on eagle's wings. That means he delivered us, because what does a woman do when she has a child and she's giving birth? She's bearing that child. So he delivered us. He bore us on eagle's wings, deliver us with those wings. Is covered.
It's that shadow. Underneath it, they were underneath the power of the chariots. So it was a covering for them to make it through safe.
Verse 5. Therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed, my covenant shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people.
A peculiar treasure. A peculiar, that means special. That means separate. That's peculiar. You're mine unto me above who? All people. All people. He didn't say some people. He said all people. This nation of Israel is above all people. It don't matter about anybody else. It's only the nation of Israel. Matter of fact, drop that and then go to Psalms right quick. Go to Psalms 83 again. Because Israel is that special nation, a peculiar treasure unto him above all people. All people besides our own nation know that. All these other nations know that. And so they came together in one form, one government, with Esau Edom at the head of it, to stop us from being a nation. Took us and put these bywords on us, put these Negro, West Indian, Haitian, Dominican. These are our bywords. These are something that we are called because they didn't want us to know this. And when we knew this, they know that we would start understanding this. So
Psalms chapter 83, verse 2. Lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden.
they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden. Before now, have you ever heard this right here? You haven't heard it. This is card. That's the only one you heard.
No, there's not.
Naphtali?
Yeah,
You've only heard Naphtali.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I've seen it on something, but I've never.
All right.
Or Benjamin, Judah and Benjamin, David, or Divine. I've seen those, like, those words that's never.
Right. So it was hidden.
Yeah.
Now you know. Now you know where it comes from, and now you know what it is. So from thy hidden. Go ahead, just continue on that.
They had said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Oh, good vibes. I need good vibes. Right? Okay. Music has a vibration. Right? Frequency. Frequency is a vibration. So we're tapping into the frequency that is honed into our spirit. This is the frequency that we belong to, that we come from. We actually come from that source. Everybody is made by it, All right, but we belong closest to the source. That's why we were chosen. Go ahead, continue.
Verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee.
So they consulted together with one consent and were confederate against us. They didn't care. They said, you know what? Hey, that sounds like a good idea. Basically, let's cut them off. All right, you can be at the top, but we want to make sure that we get slaves too. Essentially, that's what they did. Yeah, give me a cut. I need my cut. You know, and that's essentially what they did. I'm sorry. Yeah, God. That's what they did. They sold this out, and they sold out, and ultimately, them selling out is what put them into slavery too. Those who lead into captivity shall go into captivity. So that's why they have to pay.
Verse 6, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites. Of Moab.
So what is it? Basically, they sent to
Right. So this is they have bywords too, because if you would call them by their nationality, they're so-called Chinese, all right, or whatever. They have a biblical nationality, which is Moab. So being that they belong to Moab, when we say Moab, they get spooked. It's like, oh shit, they know who we are.
Because they don't want to. They don't want people to know what they did in this book
Exactly.
and what this book says about them. Because it talked about outside striking down the Ethiopia, striking down Moab,
Right.
in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Jehoshaphat.
Everybody's got to answer for what they did. Everybody has a judgment. Go ahead, continue on that.
Of Moab and the Hagarites. The Hagarites are
Go ahead.
Gabal and Ammon,
So Ammon is the Japanese.
and Amalek,
Amalek goes back to
Like that.
the Philistines, but the inhabitants of Tyre, that's Africa.
So those are the other nations. All these other nations are confederate from making us forget who we are. And ultimately because we disobeyed the Most High. We disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments. But the reason why, they're over us once again is that base man
This is Baruch 4 and 15, or I'm sorry, 14. It says, "Let them that dwell outside come, and remember ye the captivity of my sons and daughters, which the everlasting have brought upon them."
beautiful. Okay.
I think,
Keep going. No, keep going.
it says, "For he hath brought a nation upon them from far, a shameless nation, and of a strange language, who neither reverence old man nor pity child."
Right.
Yeah, they go back to
Right.
that's how you brought up. They used to be they're feeding
Babies, alligators.
to alligators, especially down south. You know, those Confederate slave owners,
Right.
back there, they're treating them to kids.
Well, their women are not getting off either. Their women, when the master went in and raped our women, you know, they had a baby, they decapitate the woman. They decapitate the baby too, because her husband wanted to lay with his property.
And his wife, sleeping with
So he basically going with somebody else's wife.
Right. He was the slave. They made sure that none of our women, all right, could be faithful to us. If a woman tried to be faithful to us, that's when they rape her, all right? And even if she was raped, right, she's still trying to be faithful, but then they'd sell her to another plantation. And they sold that woman to another plantation and moved them around. They never allowed the family to be together. All right? If the family, if you take the man out of the household, how does a family stand? That's the reason why we're destroyed as a people, because we're not in the household. Most of us were raised by single parents, whether it be a single mother or be a single father. Even when you have a single father, you still need a balance. All right, but you'll be better off if you're raised by a single father, other than a mother. Right. But a true balance is to have a mother and a father. It's duality.
And how do they stop that nowadays? You know, they enforce that
Woman worship and woman over a man.
right, but you know, if you don't pay your child support,
Right.
what happens? You go to jail. You know, they use this prison system, you know, as a main plan of action against separating families.
Well, not only do you have just the prison system with that, they have empowered women to make them equal.
Right.
And it's contrary to all doctrine. How can a woman be equal to a man? Are you physically as strong as me? If we get the same body mass for every woman, for every man up here, and we get the same body mass, is that woman going to outpower either of these men? No, it's not going to happen. All right?
That's how you know not to be true.
Huh?
That's how you know not to fight. Like
That's why you typically, you don't cast that judgment on them. You know? That's why a woman is supposed to fear you, the truth and honor. She's supposed to know that, he ain't playing. Why? Because essentially, if I love somebody, if I love something, the only thing I'm gonna do is discipline. When do I discipline her? When you're doing something wrong. A woman is the same thing. You only get disciplined when you do something wrong. Whatever that disciplinary action that you have for your woman, hey, that's on you. But nevertheless, she still needs to be disciplined.
It says, Baruch 4:16 says, "These have carried away the dear, beloved children of the widow, and left her that was alone, desolate without daughters. But what can I help you? For he that brought these plagues upon you will deliver you from the hands of your enemies."
God, so the Most High, Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Yahweh will send his only begotten Son to crack those clouds from the east, to deliver us, sons and daughters, back to our motherland, which is Israel, the richest land on this planet. All right, it's not rich right now because the gutter people are in there. You know, that's why it's not rich right now. It's not yielding its fruit. That's why we send them so much aid, so on and so forth. Well, quote unquote, one reason why we send them so much aid. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 11, verse 26.
Behold, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you obey the commandments of the Lord your power, which I command you this day, and a curse if you will not obey the commandments of the Lord your power, but turn aside out of the way which I command you this day to go after other gods, which ye have not known.
Right. So this day as well. Today is a day for you, is a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you obey the law, statutes, and commandments and start coming back to the best of your ability. Attempt. You have to attempt to truly make a full-hearted effort. How much Shimon Shah is asking for your effort to give it your all. He knows you're going to fail. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody else say they're perfect. And if anybody says they're perfect, right? And so, but that was also set before us the day that we entered the covenant as a nation. You know, we're going to give you a couple more things, the key things of what's going on, because we have prophecy continuously unfolding. And the biggest thing that's coming up is this thing right here. That's why the Maxine Waters, all right, the thing that they want everybody to get, all right, the thing that's got everybody wearing masks, all right, that thing right there that they want you to get is leading to this. It's leading to that.
It's something.
Right, right. And you're starting to see those measures. Matter of fact, go ahead and pull Revelation. You got it?
This is Revelation 13 and 15. It says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed."
All right. So this image of the beast is the things that you're hearing about right now. All right. Is I almost said it.
The MOTB, or
Yeah.
what this says right here.
Yeah, the MOTB.
And so it would, the YouTube's been citing, so we gotta kind of not say certain words because they'll take our
Videos.
videos.
So we can't say certain things or else the video get deleted. They'll take it off the platform.
Because this is something going against the people in high places don't like, because it goes against. At the same time, we're in this spiritual and physical warfare right now with the white man, because he knows that he knows what's going to happen at the end, and his battle is with Yahweh Shai. But they're trying to prolong their days on earth. So speaking these things,
That vibration we were talking about, the vibration of his name, the vibration is causing all this. It's causing them to want us to be slaves. They want to put an ear tag on you like cattle, right? They want to brand you. So getting a brand. Have you heard of Neuralink? Elon Musk's Neuralink.
so the guy who makes Teslas,
Okay, he has a brain chip that connects your artificial intelligence to your mind. All right, that's a branding.
so he's trying to make it to where you could summon a car, just by thinking of it. Because he wants you to get this chip implanted in your head,
Right.
and then when you think, okay, I need my car, oh, the car's gonna pull up for you. And this is where
And then also
I'm gonna have to go look at it. This is
there's also a RFID chip. All right, and nanotechnology.
so RFID chip. That's that bring in the debit card or your credit card. Yeah,
Yep.
where you tap it.
There you go.
That's what they're trying to implant. Pretty soon it's going to be mandatory. They already want you to get that juice
Right. We want you to get the juice.
so everybody. But see that when you take it, what do you got to do? They saying you got to take booster shots for it. You got to take more of it.
Yeah.
That's one of the words we can't take.
Oh,
So it's
no, I'm saying because like, what if I felt like I didn't need this? I didn't. Both of the pandemic, I was out, out and about. I didn't get sick.
Yeah.
And I never felt like I needed a shot, but I kind of, But-
because that has
I have to.
I mean,
go further with this kind of action because they're going to intertwine them.
right.
So that
But like
that's not the
because I didn't want to shop this
at the time you weren't in the group, right? Because there was more than likely some.
And so they put you that puts you back into them, putting you in a certain situation, being the ruler up over you, right? Because they were Confederate,
I didn't want them to be like, something bad to happen.
right?
If they catch it,
Right.
You didn't have to do really successful about it.
Right. But now you have the knowledge, but this thing is coming up. Basically, you know anything about like TVs, setting up TVs and stuff like that? Like cable boxes and stuff like that? A little bit? Okay. So if you ever set up a cable box, right? The juice is that line coming from the wall, right? Better yet, I'll set up a cable box. The line from the wall is the Ethernet, right? Going into the router. The router is what they want to give you to be able to continue. Go ahead and read that.
It says, and he causes all those small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a thing in their right hand, or in their forehead. So they're talking about this thing.
All right. So they want to give you a router in your right hand or in your forehead. All right. What is with the basically with the frequency, with the vibration, with the Bluetooth vibration? Now you're seeing these 5G towers, everything around. That's the Internet of Things. Everything being connected together.
All right, that's what we- I understand.
Yeah, just go ahead and say it.
Microwave
Yeah.
technology,
Yeah, it's just like that.
like you-
Yeah, yeah.
It goes into that too.
That's the exact same thing. And it's going to be a frequency that's sent out, right? Because now your body, when you get the juice, all right, your body, they're trying to acclimate your body to that. So now they can control whatever they want, you know? But continue on, and this is why it's important.
Because that word that I read, and I replaced a different word. It goes back to the Hebrew paragma, and that talks about being cut and inserted into. So they're gonna give you something to be cut and inserted into. Verse 17 says that no man might buy or sell.
So no man might buy or sell. So you won't be able to buy groceries. You're starting to see that now, right? You're not able to go into certain bars. You're not able to
Buzz with those glasses.
without that or without.
Right, they're doing it more for like right now. It's like events.
Yeah.
So like if you want to go to a basketball game
You want to go to
to
the Lakers Stadium? You want
to
to
a
catch the
concert,
Raiders? Raiders.
they got that with EDC that they about to do. You don't, right. So you got to bring verification that you got it, right? They got that with EDC, and then also at EDC that they gonna have them dogs that supposedly are able to sniff that disease out. Right. So if you got it.
So won't be able to buy or sell. Go ahead.
The same he that has the thing or the name of the beast or the number of the name.
All right. So whether you're rich or poor, if you're rich, you got all that money. You're not gonna want to lose that money. To keep that money, hey, what do they have crypto for now? Hey, that crypto is gonna be in what? They're gonna put it. Don't worry, it's all gonna be
Intertwined in that thing, you're gonna be able to. They're gonna put your social security, your all the
medical
information
records.
that you got. Right.
Exactly.
Right, and it's also going to be like a dog tax. You know how
Military.
they have the chip for your dog, so you don't get them lost, right? Well, that's going to keep a tab on where you at.
Yep.
Right, because what are they calling this right now? They're calling this the time of the Great Reset.
Right.
If you look that up, even the white man will tell you, because some of their own nation don't like what's going on right now.
Right.
That's what happened with them riots up in on January 6th, at the Capitol, with the Proud Boys, and they went into the White House.
Yep.
But that's they don't like that stuff. So
Right.
they can't say-
Right. That's why we use them code words. So our content won't get flagged.
I got the book of Numbers, and the reason it's like the reason once again that slavery is going to happen for those nations is because of what they did to us as a nation. So their nations are also going to go in there, and it says those who live by the sword die by the sword, right? That same blood, it only can be replaced with blood. No, and I got a scripture to back that up. Numbers 35. No,
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto the heaven of great wrath, because the Lord that hath
as he has a short time, all right? Because they know that this blood is going to be required. Their blood is going to be required at the hands of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai's men, all right? And ultimately Yahweh Shai, because of all the abominable acts that they did and all the people that they killed, all the torments that they did to our nation, they got paid for them. And what they did to the land. Yeah, all the animals, athletes, all that oil that they pulled out of the earth, and strained the earth from all the chemtrails they put up in the air, make it harder for you to breathe. All the smog pollution, all that shit. That's what they gonna pay. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 35 and verse 33, and it reads, So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him who shed it. Right? So the only way that that the land is going to be better is everybody who shed blood on this soil is going to get their blood shed. Even though America will be destroyed by thermonuclear fire, this place will be these flies, a dwelling place for desert creatures. This place will never be inhabited again. The blood is required. Right? Going to thermonuclear fire, no prophecy. You said you already had it? Go ahead and read Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 12. It's locked in. Revelation 12. It's locked in. It does take place. And this is what's to come, for everything that's going on. We're going. No, go ahead. Hey, the 4 horses, that's exactly right. That's hey, you got a zeal. Yeah. Hey. You got a zeal. Hey, the 4 horses is that's the plagues. There's plagues, and this is the destruction is coming. That's a part of the 4 horses that is coming. All right, the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore, rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, both the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right, so he knoweth he has a short time. That these devils, once again, know they have a short time. These so-called white men and the other nations, all right, who are confederate with them, they know that this time is running out. They know that, hey, all this has got to be, we're going to have to answer for this. All right, and it's the upper elites, the echelons, the Gettys, the DuPonts, the Rockefellers, the Rockenheimers, the Rothschilds, yeah, all that. That whole Illuminati, Bohemian Grove, the skulls and bones. All the upper echelon know about all of this, and they know that their time is short. That's what I know. That's right. They have the money, so that's to get away with this. That's not right. Like they got away with that child trafficking for so long before it came out in the right, and they just do a little bit. They just put a little bit each time in there just to say, "Oh, we didn't forget about it. We're still taking care of it." Still on there. That's what you're doing, like in the police. Right. That goes back to a part of their to tell a lie. You have to have the truth. You have to have a portion of the truth in that lie. That's why religion, so-called religion, works. Why? Because they have portions of the truth throughout all their religion to make a lie a grand scheme. They all got it from this, right?
I don't know if he said like, we like to.
Oh, we're roughly paraphrasing. What's in the dark shall come to the light. Yep. Oh,
This says,
Revelation 14 and 8 says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So Babylon is America, you know, and drinking the wrath of her fornication, you know, that she's getting everybody to be like them. Everybody wants to be like America. All these other countries, they all follow the footsteps of America because they think this is such a great place.
right.
Right. It says, exactly. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive that thing in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angel and in the presence of the Lamb.
So the Most High is torment them. He's going to torment them in that thermonuclear fire. You know, if the Most High made all control off, he can make 5 minutes seem like 50,000, 50 million years. You know, and you have to deal with that torment.
This is that if you taking this, is making that deal with that.
So, but then again, like the way I see that, you see, like I've always been like, always. What if this is like like something called like that's like yeah, everything. So everything was their reaction.
Yeah, cause and reaction.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm not saying anything, because I'm still.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The way like when I talk to my girlfriend, like, if anything, what if I have to do like a suffering here or whatever, and just because I'm like whatever happens here, I don't care. So I know if I end up going to hell. So whatever happens here, I know it's just give the devil, earth to the devil, basically. Right. To let him do whatever he wants to do.
Or give the devil
until he comes back.
The earth is given out to the hands of the wicked.
Yeah.
Who is the wicked? The wicked is just the white man. He is the counterpart of the devil. He's the counterpart of Satan. The devil, Satan is an adversary. They're an adversary unto us. Because you get pulled over by a cop for riding your bike. He's pressing you and wants to check your backpack and everything, and you were just riding your bike. But he's going to say he has probable cause. Why? Because you look suspicious. Is that not a hell within itself? If you're not able to feed your family, all right, is that not a hell within itself? If you're not able to see your child when you want to see your child, is that not a hell within itself? It's a hell. Because this devil has control over us. We are still slaves to this day. The only reason why the Atlantic slave trade stopped is because the government wanted to enslave everybody, not just so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They wanted to enslave everybody. Why do women go to work? Why? To make that dollar, so she can have power over you. Now she makes her own money. No, you can't tell me nothing. I make my own money. I'll pay my own bills. Me and my baby will be fine. I don't need you. Right. You know, then they go get WIC or whatever. You know, and they have government assistance. They have all these programs for women, not for men. Don't get me wrong, they have to let some men get on it or whatever, but it's mostly single women. Men have to be out of the household for them to reap all those benefits.
I get my daughter said, I don't like yes.
That's a part of the curses. All this is a part of the curses. A woman talking back to you and thinking that she runs you is a part of our curses. Not being able to pay our bills is a part of the curses. Not being able to see your children is a part of the curses. Being able, having to have a man of another nation rule over you, of another nation, is a part of the curses. Because once again, there's a hierarchy to everything. So there will be leaders. The 144,000 elect men are the men who are going to rule over Israel under Yahweh and Yahweh and King David. But there's still an order in that 144,000. In the 12, you have number 17, number 18, number 1, number 34, number 144,000. You have all those numbers who will be in order and will do it with with happiness, pride, and glad. The lowest person of our nation, the lowest person of our own nation will be richer than the richest man on this planet. The lowest Israelite. And that's outside of the 144,000. They will be richer than the richest man on this planet. Why? Because we are a kingdom of priests, a holy, peculiar treasure unto him. It is his good pleasure to give us everything. But only those who are of the 144,000 are truly the 1/3 are going to get everything. The rest of our nation is going to come back through our loins. Because, and contrary to belief, we will have sex in heaven. And heaven is on earth. So we will have multiple women. We'll have multiple women because it's a commandment, be fruitful and multiply. How can I repopulate the planet with one woman? How many babies can she have a year? One. She can get pregnant once a year. She can have, she might get twins, maybe triplets. You know?
Yeah.
That's rare. So how many times can she get pregnant in a year is the better question to ask. How many women can individual men get pregnant in a year? As many as I could have, right? As many women as there are, that Yahweh Shai opens their womb, that's as many of those women as I can get pregnant and lay that seed in. This whole jealousy of a woman being jealous of another woman, that's not going to exist in our kingdom. Not at all.
Nothing bad.
Nothing bad. That'll be their sister, right? Don't be competitive. You know, because who doesn't want to be the top? Who doesn't want to get with him tonight? Who doesn't want to have him for the week?
To say that they're supposed to treat their man as the Lord. So they gonna, just as we're trying to seek favor in his sight, they become the same for us.
Right. Because essentially we are their lords. We are over them. We are to put them in corrections when they go off. They are supposed to be corrected. But yeah, got.
2 Peter 3:6 says, whereby the world that then was being overflowed with water perished. So this is talking about Noah, and the times of Noah and that great flood that wiped out the earth. We're coming into similar times now. It says, but the heavens and the earth, which are now by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men.
Right, because the ungodly man is in truth. All right, and once again, 2/3 of our own people are the ones who perpetuate that along with these other nations.
And that fire and perdition that's going to come from these thermonuclear missiles.
ICBM missiles that are created, and they're created for the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right, to bring judgment and destruction on this place and other places around the world, but chiefly will never be inhabited again is America. All right, go ahead and get 10, Isaiah 10, 1 and 10. Isaiah. Go to Isaiah.
This is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 10. Hear the word of the Lord, ye fools of Sodom. Give ear unto the law of our power, ye people of Gomorrah.
Isaiah, I'm sorry, Slakia, 2 and 10. Slakia, I was looking at 33 for 2 and 10, Slakia. That was my fault. 33 and 1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 2, verse 10. Enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty.
So the Most High is telling the upper elites, all right, hide, go hide. Enter into those rocks, hide, because this day is coming. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 11, the lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day.
So that lofty look, that proud look, oh, you know how they be. I'm better than you. Yahweh Shemi Hashai is going to show them he's better than you with your lofty looks. He's going to humble you, right? Because Yahweh Shemi Hashai hates pride. We of our own nation aren't even supposed to be proud. What do we have to be proud of? What are we prideful about? We're at our lowest estate, and we're supposed to be prideful over who? Right?
Verse 12, the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low.
Everybody. 2/3 of our own people are going to be brought low. All these other nations are going to be brought low. But we're not out here for the other nations, even though we have to tell them the judgment what they're going to receive. But 2/3 of our own people are going to be brought low.
Isaiah 33 and 1 says, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they deal not treacherously with thee.
So they spoiled us. They dealt treacherously with us once again through the Atlantic slave trade until now. Everything that they do, from the food, from the air, from the water, from everything. Right. God.
Says when
From the very clothes we wear. Sorry.
says when thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee.
God. So Yahweh Shemi Shai said, you dealt treacherously with them, taking it back to what? An eye for an eye. You were treacherous with them, they're going to get to be treacherous with you. But going to pay unto them double. So double what you did to us, or what you did to us, you're going to get double back.
O Lord, Yahweh, be gracious unto us. We have waited for thee. Be thou their arm every morning, our salvation, also in the time of trouble.
We're waiting on Yahweh Shemi Shai. That's why we don't do certain things. You know, we're waiting for Yahweh Shemi Shai to rise us up to the fray. You know, we go to work. You know, we deal with our women talking to us crazy. We deal with these other nations thinking that they're over us. Why? Because we're in punishment. We're being punished right now. So when your child gets in trouble and they get punished, hey, what do you do? Better. What do you got to do? Deal with it. You better deal with it, or else it's only going to cause more trouble. So deal with your punishment, as we do now.
It says, at the noise of the tumult, the people fled. At the lifting up of thyself, the nations were scattered.
The nations were scattered. So the nations are going to be scattered, and they're scattering now, hearing this word. Go ahead. I think there's a little bit more on that.
And your spoil shall be gathered like the gathering of a caterpillar, as the running to and fro of locusts shall he run upon them.
God, to and fro. So Yahweh Shemi Shai is going to visit all these nations, all right, and run to and fro, and gonna go through these nations, and they're gonna get in. They're gonna go into captivity. Go ahead and get 31, and then we put 35. Isaiah or Ezekiel 35.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 31, verse 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are strong, very strong, but they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord.
So woe to them that go down to the white man for help, just because they got tanks, weapons, and everything, and think that, oh, America's this world power. Guess what? Russia got tanks. Russia's got the Satan 1 and Satan 2. Iran is gearing up for war. There's thermonuclear fires. China's gearing up for war. They're not the only ones that have that thermonuclear capability. You know, that's what America ruled by. When they dropped that bomb on Hiroshima, everybody was like, "Oh, no!" Go ahead.
Verse 2. Yet he also is wise, great will not call back his words, but will arise against the house of the evildoers, against the help of them that work iniquity.
So he will bring a bad day. The word evil is going to be a dark, bad day. Roughly paraphrasing it, it's going to be and spiritual rage with the disobedience and being that he's written it upon him. It's all for a transition to a righteous kingdom, a righteous rulership. We won't have to smell the shitty air anymore. Truly, we don't even know what air smells like. We don't know what real water tastes like. We think we know when we go camping and you taste it out of the spring. We think that's clean water, but chemtrails have fell into that water. So how can we know truly what water tastes like? Right. Even if you boil it, we don't even know what real food tastes like. GMOs. The land has been polluted and diluted. The land has not have it. The land has a land sap. It has a time period where there's nothing cut, where it's just able to grow and replenish itself. But Esau, Edom doesn't have it. They have deforestation and all kinds of abominable shit. All right? Go ahead.
Verse 3. Now the Egyptians are men and not power.
And they're nothing but men. But they claim to be gods. They claim, they're a form of a power, but they claim to be the most high power. Right. And they're false prophets. And false prophets are also people who are teaching the wrong doctrine, not teaching you the law, statutes, and commandments in this book and saying that everybody can make it. That's your Catholic Church. That's your Apostolic. That's your Baptist. That's all these other religions, whether it be Jewish. All right, you're in a Jewish religion. You're a Buddhist. You're Kali Ma, or I don't care. It's all vanity and false. Right. Exactly. They worship something. They worship something that can do nothing. Right.
Based on what they were taught.
Right.
I wasn't there when he was around, so I don't know how.
But you were. But you were, because reincarnation is real. You might not have personally seen him if you're a prophet.
But I'm saying that in the translator, how whoever got this image of this Jesus Christ, I wasn't there to see
Right.
Voice, so I don't know.
Right. You weren't there and you didn't depict the image of it. Right. Go ahead.
Horse is flesh and not spirit. And the Lord shall stretch out his hand, both he that helpeth shall fall, and he that is hoping shall fall down. They all shall fall together.
So their horses are flesh. Right? They're whether it be a literal horse, all right, or whether it be a jet, all right, be a stealth bomber, all right. Those are still made with the hands of man. All right, the technology of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is spiritual and physical. He physically made us, but he made our spirit. So didn't he physically manifest the spirit spiritually and physically? Come on now. Do you think his technology wouldn't be that much better? Good to preach.
This is book of Psalms, chapter 137, and verse 7. It says, Remember, O Lord, children of Edom, the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee, as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone.
Oh, he said, remember what they did to your people. Remember what they did to us. Even though we went off from the law, statutes, and commandments, we repent. We are sorry. 144,000 elect men, the whole 1/3 of the nation of Israel are sorry. We are sorry. We're out here proclaiming and bringing back the power. Let him come back for us. We don't want to be left behind. We don't want to go through this bullshit anymore. We don't want these fucking heathens over us. We don't want our women to go off. We don't want our children to talk back. We want everything to be in fucking order. Order. That's what we desire. Go ahead.
That's them little ones stones, man. This is coming down. Little ones, those are the men, of Edom. Those are that's the nation of Edom. That's gonna get that wrath.
Right.
So
they're gonna get they're gonna get their wrath. Okay, so the wrath says that taken that's
little ones against the stones. So the little ones, they're gonna be in their right place because they're gonna have no power. So the taking that those stones is sending out those missiles, and that's coming down on this earth.
and physically dashing them into stones too.
Right.
Their children.
That's what I'm saying.
So dashing. So
Their children even
their children are gonna get it. So as they threw our babies to alligators and let the alligators eat them, as they cut the stomach of our women open and hung our children by the umbilical cord on trees, those same terrors that they did, what comes around goes around, an eye for an eye. When they took our children and dashed their heads against the stone, the blood that was defiled the land, that same blood has to be paid back. Those same terrors. How about Shemiah Shai said terrors? What is terrors again? Scared, fear.
So he was good.
It's a righteous. An eye for an eye. An eye for an eye. But we cannot do it until Yahweh Shem Shai rises us up to the prey. He determines when the time is. He will call that time. He will raise us up. He will put his anger, the anger that he feels for us being mistreated, he'll put that in his men, in the 1/3, to make sure that they make it through this time. You know, most of us. Abarat is out of that number. All right, let's go ahead and get the new covenant. But we have you got a free? Yeah. You got a phone? Go ahead and get that free.
All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them out by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and I will be their power, and they shall be my people.
So you, the husbandman unto us, because essentially we are the Most High's woman. Because you love your woman. What would you do for your woman? Whatever, right? As long as she's doing right by you, she's taking care of the baby, everything's good in the whole 9 yards, everything's cool. What can she get if you got it? Anything, right? Anything, within reason. Everything that I have will be given unto you if you obey these laws, statutes, and commandments and do well and follow my word and follow my judgment. I will give you everything. And what does Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God or Jehovah, and what does Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, what do they control? Everything. Everything was made for them and by him. So everything that you see belongs to him. Everything. There's not anything or anyone that doesn't belong to him. He controls it all. So we're his people, and we we get an inheritance, we get everything. Go ahead.
They shall teach no more every man and his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord.
So you're my neighbor. This brother's my neighbor. My son's my neighbor. That brother's my neighbor. All right? Not the neighbor next door of another nation. That's not a neighbor. That's just somebody who lives next door. All right? So the neighbor will no longer have to teach. We won't be teaching men and women of our nation to know the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai because it'll be written in our hearts. Our hearts are mine. And when we have that written, we have that understanding that when we everything we'll do will be righteous, will be perfect as the Most High.
I'm losing loading, but if you go to like notes, I'll type them in on your notes so you follow those things.
Well,
If you want to open notes, I'll type them in.
I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more.
so I will forgive their iniquity. I will forgive their sin, their iniquity. And iniquity is sin. I will forget what they did and how they were disobedient and disrespectful. And I will remember it no more. So, hey, the will and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, you know,
But this is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 26, verse 24. And behold, as thy life was much set by this day in mine eyes, so let my life be much set by in the eyes of the Lord, and let him deliver me out of all tribulation.
so we're asking, that's what we're out here doing. We're asking for repentance, pleading with repentance to be delivered, to deliver us all, the whole 1/3 of our nation, to deliver us so we can get up out of here. We're tired. And we're gonna fight as long as we have to, whether it be, Lord willing, whether it be 6 months, 1 year, 6 years, 50 years, Lord willing, we still have that fight.
And
You know, but he gave us signs to watch for it, to notice the times, and those signs are speaking loud and clear, you know? And these are the things we are to watch for, to be, we're supposed to be watchmen to know that these things are coming. And when they're coming, hey, the sooner they come, the sooner we go home. You know, the sooner we get back in order, the sooner everything is back in order. And other nations are gonna be happy after 1,000 years. Nevertheless, they'll be happy, you know. And Esau, Edom will be done away with. There will be no such thing as a white man or a white woman. They'll be gone. That whole nation will be done. Thus saith the Bible. If you got any questions or anything, I know we can finish. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear it.
talking about something. I think that something I'm thinking of crazy something that's going on, and I'm like, it's probably like the white people trying to program stuff I know.
Right, they're trying to.
Don't look further into it because you know something can happen. I know I'm not crazy. Like I know there's stuff going on.
Right.
So that's something is 50.
No,
We'll be out here every Saturday around the same time. You know, if you want to come out and listen again, get comments on questions, we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible.
Yep. If you know you're out here or you see questions, you got questions on the comment board or anything like that, you got anything, you know, just reach out to us. If you you yourself start studying everything and come back with questions. If you got a question on anything, just study to show thyself approved. Once again, you have to make that valid effort, for Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Did you actually put the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai for us? So, can you God, can you give him your phone and he'll give you the name?
Just so you can, because I know it's at first like tongue twister. It's hard to remember.
There's like, there's this video that's posted and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
last one. Yeah. And we have other videos, lessons that we go into. You know, Lord willing, we get, you know, if you have a question and, you know, we'll do a lesson on it if you know, time permits for you. How about you be on shot for us to get that and make it plain upon tables and easy to understand, Lord willing. You know, and there's other brothers in camps who follow the apostles of GMS, right? Which is the head apostle, is the it's Apostle Tahar, you know, and there's brothers up under him. If we woke up to the knowledge,
In the name
um, yeah, we have Apostle Tahar, who's the leader of Israel, you know, who's leading, and the brothers and apostles are up under him that have brought us back to the law, statutes, and commandments to waken us up who we are, you know. But, you know, Lord willing, you're edified, you know, definitely, you know, send up a prayer to Yahweh Shem Shai for you and to deal with your infirmities and things that you're dealing with, you know, so that you can beat that deep, you know. But I give you a testimony, man. Hey, call on Yahweh Shem Shai. Nothing's too big and nothing's too small for Yahweh Shem Shai to take care of. You know? I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is, you know. And as the brother, he chastens those who he loves, you know, roughly paraphrasing scripture, you know. So if you feel, when you come into this thing and you start trying to live righteously, that's when the worst shit starts to happen because you're being tried. Matter of fact, go ahead and pull that for me. Go in the fire, anybody? Wait,
if they say Jesus Christ, like, it's not gonna be all live good, it's gonna be a lot of stuff, you know, that goes on.
Zechariah 14, Zechariah 13 and 8 says, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, two parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein.
So that you remember that 2/3 of our own people can be cut off and die because they don't care about this. You got people who walk past, people walk past of our own nation, walk past not even paying attention, let their kids walk by or whatever. It don't matter. It's not important. So 2/3 of our own people are going to die.
And I will bring the third part through fire, and will refine them as silver is refined. And I will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people. And they shall say, the Lord is my power.
So 1/3 of our own people are going to return back to the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So we're going to call upon his name. Matter of fact, it's a lot. Forget it. So,
Yeah, it's called that. The lot of hope, that's what's in the building.
second after 6. And second after 6. Start at 7 and go through that.
Verse 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day our captivity, where thou has scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payment according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power.
So we are gathered today in our captivity once again. But go ahead and continue to follow up.
To hear Israel, the commandments of life, give ear to understand wisdom.
But give ear to understand what we're saying. Because what we're speaking is the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, which is wisdom. Go ahead.
Says, how happeneth it, Israel, that thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxing old in a strange country,
So we're getting older, waxing old, and becoming more wicked in a strange country.
that thou art defiled with the dead,
We're defiled with the dead. Because what's a gift from the Most High is eternal life. We are to live forever. All right? Because the Most High lives forever. So coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments would make us live forever. Because the wagers of sin is death. And we'll never sin again. So we won't have to die. One more.
Sin regardless.
We were
Either you're gonna say the lies, because it's different sin when it's like a true will, like a sin. Like,
no sin, no one sin is greater than another. We're gonna sin on this side.
no, I understand. But you know what's sin, like you know what's good, like
Right.
everyone else, you know it's the same thing, but you know what's like still a piece of God to murder and somebody's heaven.
So we're sitting on this side, you know. It is, I mean, to steal a piece of gum is not going to be for your hunger. But let's say if you were hungry, stole food, right? As long as you go back, pay that man back. You know, when you have the ability to, hey, when you were hungry, you were in need. That man really should have gave it to you. But if he didn't give it to you, if you stole it because you had to eat, you had to feed your family, that's what you had to do. But if you made right by it, and when you got the wager, say, hey, you know, I took, you know, this from you, I just want to pay for it or whatever, whatnot. Thank you very much. You know, I'm sorry I had to steal it or whatever. You know, it's righteous. God. Yeah. The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? How should we know the times that we're in? How should we know that Most High is coming back soon as long as we got some back? So when shall be the end of the verse and the beginning of it that followeth? So what should be the end of the verse and the beginning of it that followeth? Because, go ahead, verse 8, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, and Jacob and Esau were born of him. Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau. All right, so when Jacob's hand, which is, we would be Jacob, all right, our nation would be considered Jake because we're out of the loins of Jacob, which is Israel, surnamed Israel. So we're out of those loins. When Jacob was born, our forefather was born, he held the heel of his older brother Esau. Esau is our older brother. The white man is our older brother. But when our forefather was born, he held the heel. Go ahead and read that again and then read it now. Verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. So it had held hand of Esau, heel of Esau. All right, and that symbolized bringing down. All right, go ahead. Verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right, so this world has to end. Esau has to go out of power, and then Jacob will rule. Yahweh Shai will come back when those clouds cross to the east. All right, when you pray, bow down and pray yourself to the east. All right, because Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, our land and everything is comes from the east. That is a holy direction, you know, for us. And the way we're supposed to pray is to give honor and glory unto Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Sorry? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
East as well, like the map, like
Yeah, so yeah.
it's in the direction of Israel.
God. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. You know, the rising of the sun. And the sun is who? Yahweh Shai. You know, may he be exalted. Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai be exalted at all times. You know, he's the power that brings the sun up. You know, but
So Esau being head of the world, that means that he is the last to be in Jewish. Right. So this is also our last captivity. After this, there will be no more captivity. We have a top again
and this kingdom will reign forever. Be on top like it is under Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in the order. We don't have to. Hey, we'll get the rest. We will be the rulers. You know, we will be the rulers. Our sons and our daughters. You'll marry your daughter off. You get to choose her husband. You know, you get to choose who she's gonna be subject to. That's your choice. You know, if a man of Israel wants her, he comes to you and says, "I would like your daughter." You can say yay or nay. Right. That's your decision. She just can't go by her gut feel and say, I think I like this one. I think I like that one. You know, everything will be done in decency and order. You know, and we will get to truly live our lives and enjoy our children and enjoy our wives, enjoy praising Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and being men of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, being men. Because right now we're men, right? You might be a physical man here, but are you a man of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai? And this is where we're calling. We're calling back men and women of Yahweh back into order, because there's an order and a hierarchy to heaven. Right? But with that, we're going to give all honor and glory and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, the great millstones, to all the Akim out there teaching and preaching this truth with 144% sincerity. For the men, women, and children, listen, learn to the Bahashem, the house of David. Next time, Shalom, Wad, above.